happening. She starts seeing things, and all of a sudden, like, it's a typical movie where she sees something happen. For example, she's at a baby shower, right? And it's a reveal party. I didn't know they were doing that in 2003, but I guess they are. And like the balloon pops, they go, "Oh, it's a boy," and she goes, "Oh," and all of a sudden she snaps out of it, and it happens again, and she's like, "Didn't we already do this?" So Cassandra starts realizing something's going on, okay, with her power. Meanwhile, we'll get to Ezekiel, the bad guy. What's he doing, you're saying? What's Ezekiel doing? Well, Ezekiel, somehow, he's super freaking rich, okay? He's super rich. He's got this incredible New York City flat. He brings this lady home to his place. They have adult relations. And then he sees her reaching for a gun or something. And before she can get to the gun, he grabs her wrist. And somehow, from his touch, he injects through just his skin to her skin, he injects deadly venom in her, and she dies. But it's okay because somehow, they didn't really explain this, somehow he was using her to get information. And what information, you ask, Fubar? Well, what's happening with Ezekiel is Ezekiel Sims here has been having nightmares. He's been having nightmares of 3 young superheroes killing him. They throw him out a window, and that's the nightmare he's been having for a long time. So he needs to find out who those women are. Meanwhile, in the centerpiece of his apartment is a big glass case where he has the spider he stole. Okay? And the lady saw it too. So, anyways, he got rid of her. Okay? So that's what's going on with him. Super rich, but he's having these dreams about these girls killing him, and he got some technology off of this lady. So he set her up to bring her to his apartment and to kill her. Okay? So he can get this tech information. Tech information for what? Well, I can tell you. It's tech information that he can use to get... Basically what he's going to do is he's going to, from his dreams, he's going to get somebody to get facial recognitions, perfect facial recognitions of these people, to use 2003 technology to link up to every camera that doesn't exist in the city, get pictures of their licenses and IDs and everything so he can hunt them out and kill them. Because why wouldn't he? Because they're going to kill him. So he's like, well, if I killed them, it's the old John Connor thing in Terminator. I killed them before they kill me. I can live forever. Okay. So basically, after the Cassandra Webb, she actually sees these 3 girls. You saw it in the trailer. One lives in her apartment, she's trying to get evicted. One walks in front of the ambulance when she's trying to rush this person to the hospital, and she flips her off. And one she sees in the hospital because she saved the girl's dad or some relative or kid, or I don't remember. Believe me, a lot of this movie, believe it or not, it's forgettable. So she's on the subway now, and she sees a vision. She sees Ezekiel come in as Ezekiel, dressed in a suit, and kill these three girls. Then all of a sudden the 3 girls come on the train, and she's like, you gotta get off this train. They get off, and Ezekiel shows up as the Black Spider-Man, as you see in the trailer. And she gets them off the train. They steal a cab. I'm going to kind of move a little bit faster. So they steal a cab, and they get away from Ezekiel, and then they go hide in the woods. They go hide in Central Park, I think, or some shit. I don't remember. And they're sitting there going, and you saw in the trailer, she goes, well, I can see the future. And these girls don't question her really at all. They're like, oh, okay, you can see the future. That's why you pulled this off. They're not concerned about them dying or getting killed because they all have parents that don't give a shit about them, okay? The girl that's in the apartment get evicted, her parents disappeared. She's just trying to stay there at the apartment by herself and not get evicted. One girl, she goes between her dad and her Sydney Sweeney goes between her dad and her mom, and they're super rich, and she's with her dad and her dad, the stepmother, and they don't care about her existence. And the other one's parents they have their own business, and they're in China for 3 months on business. So all three of them have nothing else to do, so they're going to hang out with their kidnapper in Central Park. And then through some incredible writing, Cindy Sweeney goes, "My God, that guy was acting like a spider." And all of a sudden, Dakota Johnson's like, "Oh my God," in her head, "a spider? You guys stay here. I'm going to take the stolen taxi, and I'm going to drive back through New York City to my apartment. Even though, don't worry about it, even though we heard on the radio on the way when we hid that they knew my name, they knew the cab, and that I'm wanted for kidnapping, I'm still going to take the cab. I'm going to drive right through the city through a stolen cab and get back to my apartment, park it in front, right in front, while I go up and look at my mom's diary." So she goes to, does all that. She finds a diary, remember the diary of all the spider stuff, and finds a picture of her mom and Ezekiel. And she's like, "Oh my God, that must be Ezekiel. That's the guy in my vision. It's Ezekiel, blah, blah, blah." So while she's doing that, the girls are sitting in Central Park. They get bored. So what do bored girls do that are supposedly kidnapped but remain in the open public of where they're kidnapped or drop them off, possibly being hunted and killed by somebody else? So what do? You walk out of the Central Park, you find a public place, and you go get some food. Okay. Then what you do, is you make a phone call. Okay. Remember, this guy, they don't realize it, but this guy has 2003 technology, and he can trace all their calls and pinpoint their location based on that call. So now Ezekiel, he's got this hired person with all these computers, all this incredible 2021 technology in 2003 with the facial recognitions, all the cameras, everything, all the cell, and they so they ID where they are, and he's like, "I'm going to go kill him." At the same time, the girls, to keep a low profile, they decide that they want to go table dancing in a diner to entertain some high school boy basketball team. Okay, because that's what the script told them to do, I guess. So they go and they start table dancing in the middle of a diner. Now, when's the last time you were in a diner and girls started table dancing? Anybody? Anybody experience that? Anybody maybe work at an Olive Garden or be in an Olive Garden and a bunch of teenage girls just said, "I think we'll jump on this table and start doing some sexy dancing," especially when we're being hunted by a killer or possibly kidnapped by somebody? Anybody? No? Okay. Well, that happens. That happens here. So, of course, Ezekiel shows up, and he kills them all. He kills the three girls. No, he doesn't, because that's in Madam Web's vision. Okay? So Madam Web gets back to where they were camping in the park with the stolen taxi, and she's like, she has a vision of Ezekiel killing him. So what does she do? She gets in the cab, and she drives as fast as she can to the diner, and then she drives as fast as she can into the diner, taking out booze. I don't know how she doesn't hit anybody because it's packed, and just manages to hit Ezekiel with the car. And then she gets the girls out of there. Okay? And, well, actually, they all get in the cab, and they leave again. So now they're driving around in this cab. Ezekiel's unconscious for a brief second, so they're back in the cab. Stolen cab for probably 7 hours now. And, and she just drove it through a diner. So she's wanted for kidnapping. They know the stolen taxi. And now she drives through the diner. Maybe does a lot of kill or hurt some people. It does a lot of damage. But yes, she's going to drive it all through New York City now. She drops the kids off at Ben's place, okay? Now this is where it gets a little weird because Emma Roberts comes into it. And Emma Roberts is, they won't say it, but she's pregnant. They can't say it, but she's pregnant with Peter Parker, okay? Now, Emma Roberts is Ben Parker's sister-in-law, okay? So, pardon me, it's getting late. Getting very late, okay. I gotta really hurry this up. So, anyways, let's fast forward. So, what you do then is after you kidnap three girls, after you kidnap three girls, steal a taxi cab, drive it through a diner, hurt people with it, drive it back to the city, drop these girls off at Ben Parker. He's like, sure, I'll watch them. I'll watch these girls with no problem. No, you go. What do you do then? You go to JFK or LaGuardia, whatever, with the taxi cab. And what do? You book a flight to Peru. Because what would stop you? What would stop you in 2003, post 9/11? I hate to bring that up. Post 9/11, kidnap three girls, right? Steal a cab, drive around with the cab, drive the cab to a diner, do massive damage, possibly hurt some people, go to the airport, get a ticket for out of the country, get a ticket to Peru, okay? No problems. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. So she flies to Peru while Ben's watching the three teenage girls, and she finds the mysterious cave area and the cave and the Spidey people with no problem. The main spider peep guy, he's now dressed like a J. Crew model. I'm not kidding you. He's got the white shirt with the khaki pants. He looks like he just fell right out of a J. Crew magazine. He fills her in on all the information. They do some astral bond. He tells her about her powers. She does some astral shit. Meets her mother. Is able to hug with her mother. Sees the past. That finds out that why her mother did all this was to find the spider because Dakota Johnson's Cassandra had a birth defect. I forgot what had a disease or a birth defect. I forgot what it was called. But I watched somebody else's review of this movie. I forgot the name of it, but basically, you can't determine that your child has this till after they're born. But somehow in this movie, let's bend the rules. Let's bend them rules. They knew beforehand, and only a bite of the spider could prevent her from having this birth defect. Okay, so she finds all that out. That's why her mom did that. So they have a great bonding moment in the astral whatever thing, hugging it out. So she has all that. She flies back to New York, no problem. Picks up the same taxi cab that she left, the same stolen taxi cab at the airport. Gets in that thing, heads to Ben Parker's to find out that Ben Parker's sister-in-law, what's her name? Mary Parker. Oh, that must be his sister then. Wait a minute, how does that make sense? Oh, yeah, Mary Parker. It's his sister-in-law, married his... Okay, they never show Peter Parker's dad, okay? So anyways, she's Mary Parker because of marriage, okay. God, it's so confusing. So she goes to the hospital, and while they're trying to get to the hospital, somehow Ezekiel finds out from traffic cams or something that they're in a car. He intercepts them. He's going to kill Ben and the three girls and the pregnant lady with Peter. But it's okay. It's okay because what happens is... Oh, no. Hang on. I think they get Mary Parker to the hospital, and then Ben maybe taking the kid, or they see the spider guy or something. I can't remember. God, this movie sucked. But anyways, they're driving in the street, and pretty much evil fake spider guy, spooter guy, has got them there, and they're going to kill him. But it's okay. It's okay because Dakota Johnson ditched the cab at the hospital and picked up and stole an ambulance from the hospital. Okay, so now she's smart. She's smart because after 6 days, of stealing the cab, she finally swapped it out and steals an ambulance. And what does she do with that ambulance? Well, she does what she does best, people. She drives from a top of a 5-story parking garage, perfectly goes through a billboard, and hits Ezekiel when he's leaping in the air to jump on the car. of the three girls and Ben Parker. So she hits him midair with the ambulance. So there we go. Car defense number 2. So then all of a sudden she grabs the girls. They end up in a fireworks warehouse. Somehow they decide that, hey, let's start setting off some fireworks to distract this Ezekiel guy. So they set off some fireworks. So it turns into, they get to the roof of the fireworks, which there's a huge Pepsi Cola sign, all lit up neon Pepsi Cola sign. And these fireworks, they were contained in a warehouse, but somehow they managed to blow a huge hole in the roof, and these fireworks are going everywhere. Where they take out a helicopter's flying over, and a Roman candle just takes out. It's like a Laws rocket. It's like a Laws rocket. It just takes out. It hits the helicopter, takes out the helicopter, and all three girls get in trouble. Dakota Johnson does her frickin' Madam Web shit, and astral projects herself to 3 different areas, and then sacrifices herself. And bad guy gets crushed by a big P in Pepsi, and it's awesome because you see his face through the little pee hole. Okay, so his face is a little pee hole. He gets crushed by part of the sign. Madam Web gets hit by a sign. She goes into the water, and spoilers flashing, right? So she falls into the water, and I shit you not, she falls into the water, and a firework goes into the water, and she is sinking because she's got this big S on her from the Pepsi sign. And this is what she saw. When she was drowning earlier, she saw the signs. She saw the big S floating in the water and the P. So she saw these signs, okay? She saw the sign, literally. So the big S hits her, sinks her, starts sinking her to the bottom. But to top it off, she's already having a really fucking shitty week. A single firework, somehow gets out of the building through the roof and has enough power to then go at this kind of loop angle, goes into the water 25 feet. This firework, just in the water alone, strikes her right in the right eye. Right in the right eye, chat. Getting hit in the right eye with a firework unfortunately caused her to lose all of her vision and paralyze her from the waist down. Okay. So basically, Ezekiel's dead. Dakota Johnson's taking on a role full as Madam Web, and she's bringing on the 3 girls to be under her, okay, and start fighting crime and doing shit. I'm sorry. There was a long way about it, but that's what the movie's about, okay? Tried my best on that. Whew. About an hour and a half into this. What's good? Well, what's good? I'll tell you what. After the jungle scene, Act 1 was manageable as a watch, okay? That's a bit of a stretch, okay? But as she was starting to discover her powers a little bit, I think that was all right done. That was all right. That was well, I'm not gonna say well done. It was done all right. Where she started getting those 3-second visions. She started discovering by opening. She sees a bird fly and kill itself into her window. She realizes, oh my god, if I open the window, the bird won't hit it. And she's like a genius. She's a goddamn genius. So she starts realizing, oh my god, I could change the future. I could change the future. I just gotta I gotta do it in 3 seconds. And I could change the future. CPR. Okay, let's talk about CPR. I am CPR trained, or certified, I should say. And it is I've got to be honest, it is a very key, it's a very key life-saving skill. And I really think more people should be trained, okay? Do you all have to be trained? No. If you don't want to do CPR, at a minimum, what I learned is when you walk into a building, at least try to look out for where the AED device is. I'm not saying that. This is a true thing. This isn't mocking. This isn't SRR. This is a true thing. If you don't know CPR, what I did learn is at least know where the AED system is. Every public building usually should have an AED. If you know where that is, you can already help, because if someone is going into cardiac arrest, people that know CPR can work on them, and the people that don't can go find the AED. Okay, we're going to get a little bit more into CPR here. Okay, so that's good here, but it's also a little bad in CPR. We're going to get into that. And of course, you got Sydney Sweeney. I mean, who doesn't like Sydney Sweeney? And Sydney Sweeney in a tight spandex Spidey costume throughout the whole movie. Now forget about it. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen, people. It doesn't happen. Okay. That's all I got. I don't have a lot of goods. Okay. Now the bads. Oh, God. Where do we go? Where do we go? God, the writing. Screenplay. Dialogue. CGI. The acting. Some of the things they chose, I think, was kind of amusing. For example, the 3-second. So she's giving CPR for the second time in this movie, and just saves a guy. Just gives him CPR. Bop. He's up. He's fine. He's ready to go. You know, he's ready to go do a UFC fucking round, 5 rounds in UFC. You know. But she sees her chief get hit by and get killed in a car accident. So she leaves. She does CPR, revives it. She sees the chief going. So somehow she magically does CPR in a special way that finally revives this guy. And he's like, "Oh, cool! Thank God, I can go do my triathlon right now." She sees her chief, so she stops the chief of the her, and she's like, "You can't. I see bad things. I don't want you to go. I don't want you're gonna. I just get bad vision. I got a bad vision." And he's like, "No, I'm good. I'm good." And she holds him back. He gets in a car. He gets in the ambulance, and he gets plowed by a dump truck and gets killed instantly. Okay. What's crazy is if she didn't fucking stop him, he wouldn't have got hit. He would have made it through the intersection. The fight scenes were they could have been a lot better. The fireworks I already talked about. The fireworks are absolutely fucking ridiculous. They are OP, man. Those fireworks were fucking OP. How they can blast through a ceiling of a building and then be able to take the angles and trajectories they did and to be able to find Madam Web's fucking right eye. Fireworks were the POG of the movie, man. They were the POG. The villain, Ezekiel. Horrible. The dialogue, the delivery. He did the worst accent. The ADR of I swear to God, they filmed it and then he did ADR over everything. The spider people. The blindness and paralyzation I talked about. The car defense. She uses a car twice to hit this guy. Once through a diner, okay, but once through a 5-store, it was just fucking ridiculous. The DHL baby. How did these local spider peeps get Casey Webb and all her belongings back to the United States? Did they find a U.S. Embassy or some shit in Peru? They drop her off in a goddamn basket with the belongings. They didn't cover that. It's kind of important. It's kind of important in how somebody's born in a fucking cave by natives in Peru with a dead mother. Did they just put the dead mother and the baby on the steps of the U.S. Embassy in Peru? They don't cover that. Also, she's fucking in New York. And then, like I told you, the spider peeps, they're all in this, mesh netting, dressed like a web. And then all of a sudden, the guy's dressed like fucking J. Crew bottles in the second act. The girls at the diner, they're supposed to be in incognito and dancing on the table. Plot holes in this movie are black holes, okay? Weak writing is just, the writing was so bad, they just bent everything. They bent everything for the average to lower intelligent people to do. No one had to really do any thinking. You had to do thinking how that happened. So they just really insulted the viewers. Okay. The tech in 2003, full face recognition, all the cameras, and I don't know, it was a little bit of a reach. Again, that's weak writing. Okay, that's cover-ups for horrible writing. I don't know who asked for this. Who asked for a Madam Web movie? This is just like Morbius. And now they got the Craven the Hunter coming. There's Venom, but I think people might have been more invested in Venom. But this is just Sony doing whatever they can to to get as much milk off that Spider-Man teat, the Spider-Man IP, without using Spider-Man. They can't use Spider-Man. They can't reference Peter Parker. They can't reference Ben Parker. I told you they won't put the two names. They can't mention Peter at all. They just use the last name Peter, or I'm sorry, Parker, and they put everything together. They can't say anything about Daily. They can't say anything about Spider-Man. Okay. They just can't refer to anything. That's why, like I said, Ben and Parker are never in the same line. It's just sad. The casting of this movie, like Sydney Sweeney, of course, everyone wants to see Sydney Sweeney, but she's 20. She was 26 at the time this movie was filmed, and she's playing a 15 or 16-year-old, and the other girls were like 22, 23. They were just cast way too old to be 15, 16-year-olds. And the story I already talked about. The screenplay's bad. Stealing the taxi, driving around New York City, leaving the airport. I already talked about that. There's no time, there's no thought of time in this. I mean, the way she goes to Peru and leaves those kids there, and she's like back practically in a day or two. It's just crazy, and just the whole third act. That's the bad. Now the ugly. The Spider-Man whoring. Okay, the Spider-Man whoring. This is some really bad uglies. You see in the preview a guy in a black Spider-Man suit. The girls in the costumes. The guy in the black suit was probably to fool people to think that that was going to be an evil Spider-Man, and it wasn't. The girls in the costume really quick through his dream scenario. That's it. I think this was sold. See, I'm okay with it, but people that saw this originally thought this was going to be a superhero movie. It wasn't a superhero movie, and I think that was kind of the fool. I think they tried to fool people and sucker them in. Ridiculous scenes, cars, diners, spider people. I already talked about the logic. I already talked about how Ben pulls her out of the car in 3 minutes. CPR saves lives and never fails. She teaches, okay, by the way, she teaches the three girls CPR in a 2-minute scenario while they're hiding in a motel. And then they use that CPR to save her. Okay. If anyone knows CPR, this isn't just this movie, but that's Hollywood. One thing that's a real problem with Hollywood. Okay, that's not how CPR works. Okay, if you take a CPR course, I thought it was too. If you take a CPR course, if people did any kind of fucking research on how when they're making movies, that's not how it usually works. Okay, CPR is a very ugly process. Okay, you're gonna break rib cartilage. You're gonna crack ribs. People are going to regurgitate all types of shit. In CPR cannot bring you out of a cardiac. It's not going to bring you out of a cardiac situation. It can bring you maybe out of some things, but not a cardiac situation. There's only one thing. When you have in a cardiac situation, your heart rhythm is out of sync. Is the electric thing through shocks. The only thing is going to get that heart back in rhythm is an AED. All CPR really does in that situation, it keeps blood flowing to the brain until someone, like an EMT, a paramedic, or somebody with an AED can get there to get that heart back in rhythm. That's usually what happens. And unfortunately, what you learn if you take CPR training is they're not success stories. They're usually not success stories. I think it's 20% or less. So in this movie, I'm glad that they're showing CPR. But they're showing CPR. She is a miracle worker, and she teaches these three girls CPR in 5 minutes, and they use it. And to bring Hollywood does this all the time. I'm really holding it in this movie, but they really emphasize CPR. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna say there. There you go. You got your GBU. I gotta really wrap this up. I got a second movie I gotta do. Where to watch it and should you watch? Well, if you have Netflix with no ads, you can see it. You can watch it for free. Otherwise, it's a $6 rental. All right. Here's what I'm going to tell you. If I would have went into this movie thinking of being a serious movie, serious superhero movie, I would have fucking hated it. But I went into it knowing what it was, and I went into it and I was ready to laugh. Maybe it has a potential to be a cult classic, probably not. But anyways, it's on Netflix ad-free already. So if you want to get a laugh, if you want to go into this movie saying I'm just gonna see how stupid this thing is, watch it on Netflix and see how stupid it is. Otherwise, there's no way you're spending $6 on this. There's no fucking way. I'm sorry. There's no way. All right, so let's get to the verdict. Let's get to the verdict of this thing, because we gotta go here. Okay, what's the verdict of Madam Web? What's the verdict of Madam Web? You say? Hopefully I got this right. Okay, I know I did. Okay. All right, Madam Web is definitely a 5 foobar. Okay. This movie is definitely fucked up beyond all recognition and repair. Oops, sorry. You get soak in holy water and bury this fucking baby. But hit it with a firework. Hopefully it gets paralyzed and leave it at the bottom of the river. Okay. All right. I was going to give this a 1 out of 10. Okay. But I'm going to give it a +1.5. So I'm going to give this a 1.5 out of 10 only because I got a really good laugh out of it. Okay. So I'm going to give it that. So 1.5 out of 10, 5 foobar. But I really can't get over it. It's just there's so many problems with this, and the whole whoring of the Spider-Man and the whole bait switch is a real problem. Okay, so that's Madam Web. Okay, all right. So here's your Madam Web review. Now what's the next review? What's the next review? You say, okay. Next review. Quick hit here. Bloodline Killer. Yes, you're hearing it here. You always want to know a Bloodline Killer? Well, let's go find the trailer here. I already did this Section 107 shit, so you're not seeing that. Okay. This is a 2024 movie, and you're going to suffer through this trailer like I did, okay?
When you wash your body, do you use a moldy...
Gotta get through the commercials. I don't have premium. You think... Okay. So let's get through this real quick. Man, it's getting late. I'm so sorry. I knew the Madam Web was going to be a problem. I knew that was going to be a long one. Okay. All right, let's watch this. This never works nicely. Okay, let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. I'm getting the hang of this. Okay. All right, we're going to watch the trailer for 2024 Bloodline Killer. Ready? Roll it.
Look, I know you've been through a lot tonight.
Start over.
Miss Mora, I'm Detective Cypher. Look, I know you've been through a lot tonight. Help me find the person that killed your husband.
Dad?
I miss Dad.
We're not meant to suffer alone, so keep going.
Still trying to get to the bottom of what happened. You and your sons deserve a better life. Skeleton is dead.
You never found his body.
There is a killer on the loose, folks.
You think it's him, don't you? Let's move.
Do you know what it feels like to be stalked? To be the prey?
No, I don't.
I hope you never do.
Open the door! Get down on the ground!
Please don't do this. I want my sons!
Okay. Here's your trailer for Bloodline Killer. Okay. Looks pretty good. You think? Looks pretty good. right? Okay. All right. So what's Bloodline Killer about? Well, it's pretty much, I'm not going to go, it's a quick hit, people. So pretty much Halloween, a dad dressed as a vampire, loves his Halloween, and then you got the younger son Connor, which probably is 30 or something, you know. Hanging at the house, the father, there's something going on, doors open, whatever. Father's, doing the trick-or-treat, and all of a sudden he meets the skeleton guy or whatever, the guy behind me, and he kills the father and cuts the son's face when the son runs out there and tries to help the dad. Okay, so now you got the mother, played by Swanee. Is her name Swanee? Hang on, let me look this up. I should probably just think. I don't really. I shouldn't. Oh God. Yeah, Swanee Smith. Okay, I was right. All right, so. So you got the survivor, Swanee Smith, the which is the wife, and the two sons, Michael and Connor, I think. Okay. So, the husband gets, he goes to the hospital, he gets killed, he's killed, and they're all at the hospital, and the wife, I forgot how she got hurt. I don't remember. They really didn't get too much. And then one brother shows up, and then everyone just kind of hates each other because the brother's like, you should have protected him. If I was there, I was protecting him. And it was all this family drama shit. So, meanwhile, Skeleton, or whatever the fuck his name is, he gets all fucked up from getting shot by the police during the attack. And he's saved by somebody. So, over the year, the killer is kept alive. Fuck if I care. It's his sister. His sister finds him. She's a nurse. She keeps him alive, but chained to her in her room, in her basement. And then the mother, Swanee Smith, and the two boys, they try to get through the next year, knowing what happened, and they're traumatized and they hate each other. And then what you find out is that Swanee Smith, the killer's her cousin. Okay, and they flash back to where Swanee Smith, I guess, was abused by her father. And Lee Morris, wherever her cousin's name is, I forget the killer here. He had something. I think he really liked her or something, and she wrote him a letter and said, "Take care of him." So I think they didn't really show up, but you think that this kid, because he was killing small animals, killed her father. And this is kind of cloudy, but I think she wrote letters, and then the kids found out that she was writing letters to him, and either she wrote letters about not getting along with her husband, or he misinterpreted, but that's why he came and killed the husband. So anyways, long story long, a year later, he gets healthy, he escapes, and he's hunting them down. Okay. And eventually, over a long period of this movie, I'm going to get more into that, they finally get to the final conflict in Act 3, where he's in the house waiting for the family to finally finish the business. I don't know why. It was kind of confusing to me. I got a new segment I might do on this channel called Tap Out. This was a movie I almost tapped out on. I had to go back. I started this movie, fucking bored the shit out of me. I went back to it, bored the shit out of me, and I was just like, today or the day, I can't remember, I finally finished. I had like 30 minutes left. I said, I'm just going to finish. I was going to tap out. I might do a new thing about movies. I tap out and I can't finish. This one I did. I struggled. It was a fucking struggle, but I made it. But anyways, quick hit. So let's go with the GBU, the good. I thought the opening scene with the father, with the trick-or-treaters, I think that was probably the best part of the movie. I thought at that point, I'm like, this movie has promise. I thought the killer mask. I thought the killer behind me. The mask. Okay, the mask is good. But then the guy just wears like fucking overalls, black overalls, and a goddamn turtleneck. And he uses an axe. It's just the mask was good, okay? It was kind of somewhat of an interesting backstory about a crazy cousin that might have feelings or weird feelings for his cousin, to try to take out the, people that are hurting her. I guess they didn't really, her father, they made kind of clear, but they didn't show anything, so it was a little fuzzy. But anyway, somewhat of an interesting backstory. I'm just giving as much credit. Swanee Smith, she's the Amanda from Saw. I kind of like her. She was all right in this movie. But I just like her as an actress. But she was all right in this movie. She was probably obviously of the acting, she was the only one that showed any kind of acting in this. The killer's sister, to a point of how she was a nurse and was able to keep him alive and try to keep him chained up. That was a kind of an interesting story. And then how they discovered the killer being in the house. That scene up to discovery, a little bit of intense moments up to discovery of the killer in the house. That was good, but that was about it. The story. Oh my God, the story was very empty. The characters. Oh my God, you hated all these characters. You couldn't stand any of these characters. And again, I keep saying this. Swanee Smith, because her sons found the letters, so she was annoying for writing the letters and possibly writing to her letters to her cousin that might have been I don't know if he was in prison or what, about her husband or whatever. So she kind of triggered all this. Sons were assholes. They hate each other. They were all dickheads. The only person that was decent was the one son's girlfriend. That's the only, and the one of the cops. I mean, those are the only people you kind of cared about. The family dynamics in this movie. It started fine with the dad and the younger son Connor, but then the boys and their mom and their relationship and trying to get the ex-girlfriend involved in this, it just was fucking just shit. This movie I don't think this movie knew what it wanted to be. Was it a slasher movie? Was it a family drama movie? Was it a cop mystery movie trying to find out who done it or where the killer is? It didn't do anything good in any of those, so I don't know. I don't know what it wanted to be, and whatever it was trying to be, it didn't do a good job on any of it. The acting was bad. The acting was horrible. Swanee Smith was okay. Like I said, I gave it a little bit of good. But everyone else, man, except for the end. Her at the end was bad. Really fucking bad. And everyone else in this movie, I swear to God, it was the main cop, Therese, I forgot something. He was all right. The main cop, the black cop, what's his name? I got to give him kudos because he was decent. He was stomachable. Therese Gibson, he was decent. He was stomachable. But him and Swanee, he might have been the best in the movie, actually. But other than that, the rest of the people just sucked. It all fucking sucked. The movie was slow as fuck. Oh my God, this movie was so slow. It was over an hour and 45 minutes, and it shouldn't have not been over an hour and 20. This movie should never... It was so stretched out. It was unbelievably stretched out. The production value was absolute horseshit. Absolute horseshit. It looked like it was filmed as a school project. The lack and weak locations. I think there was one house, maybe some fields, a hardware store, outside a coffee shop, and an ice rink. In an hour and 45 minutes, that's all they did. It should never been an hour and 45 minutes. The cops were... Therese Gibson was okay, but the cops, their logic and how they were in this movie, their shooting was fucking horrendous. Kids in this movie, like young kids imitating... I mean, do they really... They did that in the Scream movies, but the kids imitate the killer in this, breaking into people's houses and harassment. It's like, what the fuck do kids get away with these days? It's like, come on. The sons and their fractured relationship was just old. It was just old, and you just want them both to fucking kill each other and end it. There's no tension, no suspense, except for a little tiny bit in the third act at the end. And there's just inconsistencies with the killer. Like I said, in the opening, the killer was hurt and took a year to recover. And then at the end, they're practically supernatural. And the ending, the ugly. The ending of this movie. The ending of this movie was absolute fucking... It was so fucking bad. It was so fucking bad. I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, spoiler. I'm going to tell you. If you don't want to hear it, leave. Because I'm going to wrap this fucking thing up anyways. Any second. So basically, they got the killer in the house. They all run at him. They all go through a glass door, okay? The mother, the two sons, and the oldest son's girlfriend, okay? They just had a wonderful Halloween ice skating thing, okay? The killer comes awake first. He takes the axe. Now, he's been harassing the mother and the sons, okay? He's been after them because that's the family bloodline. Bloodline killer. The name of the fucking movie is Bloodline Killer. Okay? He wants to kill the bloodline, right? So what does he do? He takes his axe and he kills the girlfriend. Puts it right through her, buries it right through her fucking chest. Then he leaves. He fucking walks away. And Swansea, this is her bad acting. The way she was screaming at the end, seeing the dead girlfriend, and the brothers. The one brother barely came conscious, and the other brother saw his dead girlfriend, who he just got back together with, and he was like, "No, not Lisa, not Lisa," and then whop. Cops chase the killer in to the woods. They go by. And the killer pops out from the bushes like, fuck you. You shot me 17 times, but look at me. I'm fine. Where's that guy from the CPR from Madam Web? We're going to do a triathlon together. And that's how the movie ends. It's just... Quick hit here. Quick hit. All right. All right, what are we giving this thing? That's what we're giving this thing. I don't have a goddamn... We're going to finish this thing. It's getting a 4 foobar, okay? Obvious damage, major flaws, never makes it. You waste your money, you feel shame, okay? That is going to equate to a 2 out of 10, okay? So a little bit better than Madam Web. Madam Web, I'm going to be honest with you. Madam Web, if you go into it with the right mindset, is a far more entertaining movie, okay? I'm giving this a 2 out of 10 because what it was for the low production cost compared to what Madam Web was for the high production cost. And Madam Web, in my opinion, high production cost, bigger actors, bigger budget, shit movie. That's why it's a 1.5. You're like, Fubar, you just gave this a half point better than Madam Web? Are you fucking kidding me? Well, I'm telling you why. Because I'm kind of trying to I'm doing a bell curve, okay? This movie probably had a budget of like fucking $10 million or some shit. I don't know. Do they say this stuff here? I don't know if they say this stuff. I don't know if they say this shit. I don't know how much these budgets were or whatever. Does it matter? Nah, it doesn't matter. Okay, whatever. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing it. Okay. On that note, I gotta go to bed. We're out of here. I love you guys. Peace out. I'm gonna wrap this thing up. So there you go. You got your Bloodline Killer, 2 out of 10, barely. Maybe 1.5. I don't know. I'll give it 2 now. Don't recommend it at all. Oh, where to watch this thing? Oh, shit. I forgot to tell you that part. Where to watch? I can tell you don't watch the fucking thing, but I'm pretty sure it's not. It's going to be a rental everywhere. Where to watch and should you watch? $5 at Amazon, $6 everywhere else. No, I do. Even though I'm giving this a 2 out of 10, like I said, I'm giving it a 2 out of 10 for what its budget was. It's a 2 out of 10 for a B fucking movie, okay? Madam Web is a 1.5 out of an A fucking movie. You know, what should have been an A movie, okay? Fucking IMDb actually has this a 4 out of 10, which I don't fucking get. But whatever. Don't get it. Anyways, peace out. I should be back Tuesday. Maybe some Panacore with bacon. Anyways, peace out. I'm out of here. I gotta go to bed. Laters.